In this part we'll finish up the meta rig and generate the rig that will store actions. With the meta rig selected, make sure you've tabbed into edit mode and start snapping the leg. Press the dot key to snap our view to this joint and mouse wheel out a bit. Again, be sure to snap to the base of the joints and not the misoriented tail ends. We're going to box select the foot group and then the heel joint as the active element. G, Y, and Control drag to snap. G, X, and Control drag to snap. Click the top joint, G, Z, and Control to snap the joint. And now that we've aligned everything, the rest of it is just snapping like before. The meta rig is ready. Tab back into object mode. Shift D to duplicate the meta rig and rename it to offset. The Mixamo rig will drive the offset, and that will drive the Rigify rig that we make. We have to edit a few changes to ensure the offset can convert the motion properly. Tab into edit mode. Select these two breastbones, these two hip bones, and the metacarpals on the hands. The offset will not need these. Press X and select bones to delete them. Select the mid and neck bones and press Ctrl X to dissolve. Select the head and tail joint to the base spine bone, Shift S, cursor to selected. Then, with just the base joint selected, Shift S and selection to cursor. Press E and Y to extrude a bone from the new joint position, then name it spine.tail. Rigify needs a root bone position offset like this, and this setup solves that problem. We also need to solve a similar issue in the foot, but this time to fix orientation. Select the base of the toe bone and press E, Y, Control to extrude and snap it to the heel. X and select bones to delete the heel from the offset as we don't need it here. Name the new bones foot.L.heel and foot.R.heel. Press A to select all the bones, B, Control and drag a selection to exclude these bones. Control click the heels as well to deselect them and press Alt P and clear parent. We broke these bones apart because it makes motion conversion more flexible up the chain of each limb. The final thing we address is the difference between the direction of the spine hierarchy to Mixamo. Press P, keep offset to reparent the base of the spine to the one above. Parent offset the tail to the bone above it as well, and now the offset rig is complete. Create a new collection and store the offset into it. Let's disable offset for now. Disable the rig Mixamo collection too. Select the T-posed meta rig and go to pose mode. Turn on X symmetry and snap to Y. R to rotate each bone into place from your view space. We're just rotating it roughly from I. The hand has many bones, so we'll block the pose in. Box select the thumb. Select the transform pivot point to individual origins. Now rotate the bones roughly into place. Select all the other fingers and rotate them all at once. View by view, we'll angle each finger bone into place, using the viewport gizmo and the R key. It's not essential to get them all in the right position. Rotation is what really matters. Here I align the shoulder bone positions by angling the clavicle. To be honest, it would have been better to maintain a parallel offset of angles. You can experiment a little with the angles as long as the lengths are the same as Mixamo. We won't mess with the lower spine and legs because it's going to cause root motion issues. So focus above the chest and snap the view to the x-axis. Rotate the neck and the head bones into similar angles and Rigify as a little bit of a slouch. Now we can apply the new bind pose. Pose, apply, apply, pose as rest pose. Now it's compatible with Mixamo's bone lengths and positions and Rigify's A-frame pose. Jump back to object mode. And now isolate the offset rig and the Mixamo rig in the outliner here. Select the Mixamo rig, then control-click the offset rig and activate pose mode. For the offset to follow the Mixamo rig, we'll add a child constraint between the rigs. Select spine 1 of the Rigify and then the hips of the Mixamo rig as they're both in the same place. Control-Shift-C, child of. These constraints will take the first bone selected and make them stick to the last bone. Repeat on all overlapping bones. Click, Control-Shift-C, child of. The order that the bones are selected is determined by how we have selected in object mode. This is useful where bones are hard to pick apart, unlike the feet, head, or finger bones which are splayed in different directions. Don't forget the other side as well. With the offset rig fully constrained, go back to object mode. Let's test this out. In the workspace menu, select the animation tab. Change the dope sheet to the action editor. And select one of these actions. Drag the time head to scrub through the action. It seems like we've constrained the animation correctly to the offset rig. Now we need a rig to constrain this to, so we need to unhide our meta rig. Select the meta rig, and in the armature section of the properties panel, select the generate rig button. This is the full strength of the Rigify rig, an instant fully featured rig based on the meta rig. Hide the meta collection. Save your work. In the final episode, we'll constrain the rig to the offset and finish up.